looking at me. Are you looking at me? You're looking at me? You're looking at me. Okay. Okay, here we are. Grumpy Chef, episode 5. How about that? I never thought I'd get through 5 of these things. It's Friday evening. We went to the farmer's market today, and I'm making a recipe from a simple ingredient that every farmer's market in France have got. If you've ever been here, you know this. A man or a woman who sells roasted meats, chickens, pork, lamb, turkey, quail, all this stuff. So I bought a turkey leg, 12 euros. Oh my God, it's filled with flies. No, that was the other episode. There we go. That's the turkey. It's really big and it's really meaty. So what I want to do today is use this part, just the leg part, save this for other friends, well, maybe better friends. So if you can find that goddamn joint in there, it's usually pretty easy to find, but you got to get lucky. And of course I'm not right now. There it is. Carve right down through there. Okay, this dish is from a restaurant in Southern California, Los Angeles, called Felipe's. It's been there for over 100 years. And they do what they call it a French dip sandwich. None of it is French except that they call it a French roll. It's some kind of a rich gravy and sliced meat on a bun, usually served with horseradish and or mustard. So I duplicate this here in France because, well, I like it, and it's just fun. So what I've made is I've made a gravy. I want to call it that. Funny story. This is pork from a meal 2 days ago. The Karen had a barbecue pork chop and leftover. Again, leftover meats, the perfect dish. You've got any kind of roasted meats, chicken, doesn't care. Make this. This is shallots, obviously olive oil, adobo, Uruguayan adobo or oregano and thyme, salt, a little sugar. And in France, the funny thing is they don't sell stock in a jar or in a box. You can use the cubes, or you can use something that's called a fond, which has got a little bit of a thickening agent in it. And my sous chef here, Karen, is showing me the containers. You won't find this. It's a Maggi brand, but what it is, it's just the essence of, they say it's pretty much real. Funny, a country who relies upon sauces, you got to boil your own bones down. That's a bullshit matter. So anyway, so this has got all that stuff in it. This meat's going to go in here. It's going to get warmed up just until the meat's warm. Don't cook it. Start boiling it. It becomes rubber. So that's what we're going to do with that. So just long strips of meat that sort of fit the length of the bun. And if it's nice and tender, and you don't boil it, it's usually pretty tasty. Oh, there's trouble with the leg. Oh, he's got those long tendons. That's why the little fucker could walk. I've served this to royalty.
Yeah,
not really.
Plowman.
Liz Plowman, of course, and and everyone says to me, well, including the 2 people that are in this room with me, 3 people in the room with me, they've sent the recipe back with family and friends who have told me years later how much they enjoyed it. Isn't it right, Adam?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Now, I think they're crazy, but of course they were smoking dope too, so what do I know? So all this meat, just sort of submerge as much as you can in the sauce. And I can't stress enough the fact that do not boil this. It will just be not very tasty. I mean, it'll be tasty because the gravy's good, but the meat will be stringy and hard. Which will be a salad of tomatoes, fresh tomatoes out of our garden, young new potatoes from the the farmer's market today, and an Italian truc. I'm going to show you when I monterey the vegetables. Okay? So this is a salad that's going to go with those sandwiches. Cross cultures, if that's French, and this is Italian. We lived in Tuscany for a number of years, and a friend, Grady Salgetti, showed me how to make this. And it sounds crazy, but what you do is you boil your potatoes in salted water, throw them in the bowl after you've rinsed, I'm not rinsed them, but drain them, and then pour just a little bit of vinegar all over them and rummage through them so that they're all coated. Just a little bit of vinegar. It adds another flavor to the potato itself. A little teeny tiny flavor. But no, more than that. And then obviously garden fresh tomatoes, a little salt, olive oil, maybe more olive oil, and then the same thing. Tear up the fucking basil, just like we did with the ratatouille. Again, we have a surfeit of basil this year because the sous chef decided to buy lots of plants, and they've all done really well. So here we are. We're basilizing. But like anything else, taste it. It's not rocket science in the respect that you can in fact taste it. That's a stupid analogy. But if you just say, well, this is the way it is, and put it on the counter or on the table, and your friends go, well, that was pretty good. But if you taste it as you go, you might come up with a little better flavor for yourself. It's for me. I'm the egotist. I could care what everybody else eats. That's what I want to eat. So the Grumpy Chef is back with the third part of this meal. I use the old bag to keep the bread fresh. What the heck? Still gets recycled. So what I've done, I did it in advance because, well, time is of the essence. The bread has a tendency to be really soft. And the meat and the mayonnaise and the mustard, it just oozes out, and the buns just becomes inedible. So what I do, years ago, I discovered mayonnaise and a little garlic salt. And I told a friend years ago how I was doing this and why I was doing it. I called it annealing the surface. And he said, well, wait a minute, annealing is when you harden something. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're hardening the bread so that the juices don't run into it too quickly. And it makes it a lot more sandwich-like. Okay, here's the buns. I'm going to turn that down a little bit because you don't want it to get too burnt on that side because you want to get the whole bread warm. And a trick on the barbecue when you do this with your hamburger buns is after you brown them off on the bottom and got that brown hardness you're looking for, turn them over, and then in the back of the barbecue, away from the heat, and it firms them up again. So you don't have that kind of, when you grab a hamburger and you go, hink, and your fingers dig into the bun, you go, oh, this thing is not going to stay together. You're going to get halfway through it, it's going to fall apart. I don't like that. I want it to be a good bun all the way through. As my friend says, without a bun, there ain't a done. There we are, the buns that have been in the in the pan. So again, see the browniness, the little firmness. They're not crispy. They're just sort of sealed. And again, I do the outside of them so that they're a little firmer, because that's what she said. Okay, there are our buns, and our meat has been warmed up at the same time. So, as Julie would say, bon appetit. It's a very simple meal. Leftover meats, a lovely salad with, remember the vinegar on the potatoes after you boil them, salt in the water, waxy potatoes, the buns cooked on both sides with a little mayonnaise and garlic salt if you like that. No salt? Okay, stay out of the salt. And some French mustard and some English horseradish. So put a little of this on the breads. Put a little bit of the gravy. There's no spoon here, but a little bit of gravy. The meat. Eat. Bob's your uncle. Right? Anyway, happy trails. Goodbye.